Molly Bish was born on the 2nd of August 1983. Extremely outgoing and popular, she enjoyed playing soccer, softball and basketball at her high school. She was an honours student and had dreams of one day working with children. Molly had gotten a job as a lifeguard in the summer of 2000 in her hometown of Warren, Massachusetts. On June 27, 2000, it was the summer's first day of swim lessons, and even though Molly was upset about the news of one of her friends being seriously injured after getting hit by a car, she was still happy to go to work. Molly and her mother drove to the police station to pick up a two-way radio, which was required as there was no other way for lifeguards to contact police. Molly arrived at Coleman's Pond at 10 a.m. and was looking forward to the day's activities, but when one of the first parents arrived at the pond, they noticed that Molly was nowhere to be seen. Yet at the lifeguard's chair, her whistle, sandals and first aid kit were present. Molly's boss was informed of her absence and at 11:44 a.m. reported to police that she was missing. But this wasn't taken seriously. The Warren Police Department just assumed that the 16-year-old had ditched work to hang out with friends. As the day went on, police notified John and Maggie Bish that their daughter wasn't at the pond. Maggie and Molly's sister, Heather, went to the police station where they were told that Molly was probably upset about her friend being hurt, and there was nothing to worry about. Maggie and Heather checked at the hospital, but Molly hadn't visited her friend. They also went to her boyfriend's house, but he hadn't heard from her all day. When they arrived at Coleman's Pond, they questioned that if Molly did leave on her own accord, then why didn't she take her sandals? After talking more with family, police began to believe that they were dealing with something more serious than what they had originally suspected, so they called in the state police to help with the investigation. Theorizing that the missing teenager may have drowned in the pond, a dive team and boat spent several hours searching in the water, but found nothing. The next day, locals joined the search for Molly and posted missing persons flyers on their storefronts. Police continued looking around Coleman's Pond and the surrounding area, and deployed a helicopter with infrared imaging, but there was still no sign of Molly. Investigators would speculate that since her first aid kit was left open, someone could have faked an injury to catch her off guard. Maggie Bish remembered that on the day before her daughter disappeared, there was a suspicious-looking man at the pond who seemed to be watching Molly as she set up her station. She described him as being approximately 50 years old, with a mustache, salt and pepper hair, and he was also smoking a cigarette. Police struggled to locate any solid evidence at the scene, as it was contaminated due to there being so many fingerprints, footprints, and used cigarettes left behind. And while thousands of tips were received from all around the United States regarding the person of interest, none of them resulted in anything. This would be the case for a few years. A lot of tips, but nothing substantial enough for police to believe it was anything other than rumours. They looked into the area's known sex offenders, but were unable to come up with anything solid. In May 2003, two hopeful tips came in, claiming they had seen Molly Bish in Miami, Florida. Investigators were prepared to make a trip down to follow up on the lead, but then a hunter came forward, revealing that months earlier he had seen a blue bathing suit in a wooded area in Palmer, Massachusetts. Police acted on this tip and discovered a piece of cloth that looked like it had been part of a blue bathing suit. A massive search would be performed, covering 500 areas, the largest in state history. 6 days into the search, DNA testing would confirm that the suit did belong to the missing Molly Bish, and on the 3rd of June 2003, police searching Whiskey Hill discovered a human bone that belonged to someone aged 14 to 20. More searching was done of the area, and 26 more bones were recovered. DNA testing confirmed them to be the missing teenager. Molly Bish would be buried on what would have been her 20th birthday. Police believe their suspect to be a white male, between the ages of 18 to 50, and he was known to the area through either hunting or fishing. In February 2008, Rodney Stenger was arrested in Florida for the murder of his girlfriend. Someone called the district attorney's office, claiming he was involved in Molly's murder, based on a conversation with his dead girlfriend. Stenger shared a resemblance to the composite sketch of the man Maggie Bish had seen. He lived in the Warren area and was an avid fisherman and hunter who fished at Coleman's Pond. He moved to Florida around a year after Molly disappeared. Stenger was interviewed but denied any involvement in the murder of Molly Bish. In 2014, A partially buried bag was found underneath a log in the woods, across the road from where Molly's remains had been found. There were a pair of boxer shorts, similar to the ones Molly had been wearing the day she went missing inside. Despite intense investigations, multiple persons of interest, and thousands of tips, the murder of Molly Bish remains unsolved. Maggie and John founded the Molly Bish Foundation, which aims to improve safety awareness and prevention for all children. They also helped pass a law that brought the Amber Alert system to Massachusetts.